afternoon.
Good afternoon, Paul.
How's it going?
Going very well. How about yourself?
It's going. Rainy day.
Yeah, wet and cold.
Yeah.
But that's I kind of wish for wet weather here because we didn't have much snowpack, and the lakes are coming up big time. So
Are they?
Yeah,
Right.
There's quite a bit of water in them. It won't be overly high, but it's good to see they have come up quite
A
a bit.
healthy amount
So,
would be nice.
yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be fishing not too long.
Yeah, a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's you were just asking about the ice there. It's pulling away from the shore there. It's open up
Is
maybe
it?
20 feet.
All right.
More so because, like I say, the water itself has come up. The lake has come up, so it's parted from the shore, and there's stuff going on. The ducks are flying around wherever there's a little bit of open water, and I get up in the morning, I step outside, and I can hear the robins singing, and that's
so
a
great.
beautiful sound.
Every morning, about 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
4:30, I start hearing
The robins.
And it's so, I was telling Lacey that the other day. We were talking about how all winter long it's dead quiet. You don't hear anything. And now it's like everything's just alive.
Yeah.
You hear some geese in the background. They're coming through.
We heard they
There's-
had geese. Narda mentioned that this morning. We could hear the geese from inside the camp, and
changes quick.
Things are changing,
great.
although this rain we have now is supposed to transition into snow. So I may be driving up, and I think they're calling for a couple inches of snow tonight.
We don't want that.
And it's going to be cool this week. High tomorrow, only in the 30s.
Yeah.
So
What are we talking about today?
whatever you want to talk about.
Let's talk about politics.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, there are some
Originally-
politics to talk about.
Oh, there's always politics. to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about.
I don't know whether you wanted to talk about you had mentioned we got a new commissioner of inland fisheries and wildlife.
We'll get there.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll let you get there.
But yeah, originally I was, the beginning of the week, I was like, well, I was kind of looking at current events and kind of things that are changing in the Maine outdoors recently.
Mm.
And then I had someone, Richard Gale, had sent me a kind of a digital photos of the 1970 Fish and Game magazine. It looked like it was put out by the department, right?
It is.
Yeah. So I was like going through that. Then it was almost like, man, this is pretty cool. There's a lot to compare and contrast between kind of some of the things we're dealing with now,
Right.
and what was going on then. And it's pretty good. I appreciate him sending that because it really, it's kind of how these things these topics evolve over the week. I start with one thing and then I end up kind of
In a different
going down
direction.
some rabbit
Yeah.
holes and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
So,
good. It's good to be flexible and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We can start with, we got a new commissioner.
Yeah.
End of this month.
Interim. Yeah.
Officially, I think
Judy Camuso.
Judy Camuso is done the end of the month.
Yeah.
They announced it April 7th.
Yeah. And not to skirt the issue, there was quite a bit of controversy with her with her being commissioner and stuff throughout her. She brought a lot of DEI into the
It seemed
department.
like there was, like focus on social
Justice.
cultural stuff.
Yeah.
That, I don't know, that really pulls away from the vision of what.
Right. The core
I think
vision
these
of what the
things should be
department
doing.
looking at.
Yeah, we're dealing with that actually on a local level right now in our school system.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. Like the school, and that's why we homeschool
Right.
now. It's like the school needs to focus on educating kids.
Right.
Not
And they're doing a real poor job of that.
God,
So
like
yeah.
not these social
Yeah. Issues.
ideological stuff that they
Yeah.
want to suck into that just
Yeah.
distracts from the real goal at hand.
Yeah.
So I guess there was a little controversy with her
Yeah.
regarding that stuff, right?
Yeah.
It was,
Over her tenure there. Yeah, there was, and I'm sure that she was put in there for that reason by the governor. That was the governor's vision of. They wanted in the department 50% women and across the board, and whether it would be the warden service or
that stuff gets me fired up.
Well, and that's
so I'm all about meritocracy.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what gender you are, it doesn't matter.
Right. Exactly. And people, and I kind of checked myself on that. And, I think, well, in any way, do I think that women are less capable? Absolutely not. My financial advisor's a woman.
Yeah.
I've had surgery from a woman that did a fantastic job. But there's some things that maybe they just physically they may not be as able to do as well as the average man. There may be some women that can do it, but when you say that you need 50%, new hires in the warden service to be female, I think that that's discriminating against maybe a better qualified person.
Yeah, you're just shooting yourself in the foot from trying to get the best team possible to do whatever it is you need.
Yeah.
You saw it with in the realm of science, like engineering and stuff like that. Like I can remember some of the tech companies were saying that there's a skewed number of male computer engineers, software engineers, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And, and the reality of it is it's not that men are better than women at that, but men tend to have a greater interest in that stuff. So you see them pursuing those fields more so than women. It often boils down to an interest thing. And it's like, gosh, let's not worry about that. This is
right. Let's hire the most qualified person, whoever is best for the job. And like I say, it becomes reverse discrimination. And it was really bad in the last, when I saw, presidents of airlines and CEOs and stuff saying they were going to equal the, pilots. And I want the most qualified pilot flying the plane. And I really don't care what gender or color they are.
I want to get there.
But I don't want them putting people in there or, just for to balance numbers.
Yeah.
That's a scary thing. And to me, it's a very stupid thing to say.
Oh, it is.
And these guys are presidents of large corporations, airlines and stuff. And I'm going to be the guy saying, I want the most qualified person flying that plane or cutting into me, if I'm having surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I say, I've had surgery by women and they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
No problem. But to say that you're going to hire somebody based on their gender or color is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
I think people are tired of it. Kind of ubiquitously. They're exhausted from it. Because I've seen it here, like I said, on the local level. Last week we had an issue with the school bringing in some people that just really wasn't appropriate to be into the school system. We pay taxes, and it's funny, we pay taxes to the school system, then we pay out of pocket to educate our kids.
Right.
Because of this crap. And a lot of people in the community were really fired up.
Yeah.
Like, you just see people are just like, enough's enough. Like, we don't.
What was the point of all that anyway? They say bullying or that's the biggest bunch of bull.
Yeah.
That,
It's kind of unraveling with them right now.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It can't unravel fast enough.
Anyway, we could do a whole podcast on just that.
Yeah.
On the cultural agenda that we've dealt with the past few years.
Yeah.
But so it's going to be Tim Peabody.
Yes, Tim Peabody. He was the deputy commissioner, and he is now the interim commissioner until they appoint somebody else. And there was a lot of stuff going on, like I say, with the Commissioner Camuso, interpersonal life too. I don't know if you read some of the things on.
I didn't get too far.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep myself.
Her husband or
under
then
control.
husband had tried to purchase cocaine through a state issued device.
Oh, there we go.
So. Yeah, that was an issue, and they tried to cover it up. They hid it or whatever, and they didn't hide it very good because Mark up in Aroostook County knows about it. So yeah.
See, it's funny in that book that Richard had sent me. They had a whole section on the commissioner in that.
Yeah,
and he was from down in Washington County, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was kind of a good old Washington County boy.
Yeah.
But back in 1969. But yeah, anyway, yeah, changes there going on. One thing I did come across is Maine. We're dealing with a lot of modernization in the world. Maine has always been somewhat lacking. And I think in the outdoor realm of things, that's kind of a good thing, because we're not doing things very cautiously before we quote unquote modernize certain things. And one of them, there was some legislation that was put forth to do the electronic registration of deer. And as you get thinking about it, you think if it's a convenience thing. But Maine still there's a lot of value in in-person registration.
Right.
And these were things that they'd kind of thought about. So one was just the cultural.
Right. The community.
When you go to a tagging station.
You draw a crowd.
Yeah, people. I remember up in Ashland, people coming in and be like, "Oh, I'm going to swing down by Gateway to see what's
coming in."
See, especially during moose season.
Yeah. Oh, that was a big deal when it first started.
So they all kind of congregate there.
Yeah.
See what's going on, share a story, especially if someone drives by, sees a big buck hanging.
Yeah.
You'll get people just kind of filtering in.
Yeah.
Does a lot of good things. One, for the business, people are going to spend some money there if they're hanging out. Then that's that whole cultural thing, sharing stories and going on about what happened when the animal was harvested. But another big thing that was brought up was it's such a good way for the department to collect data. It's going to be hard to collect data if people are doing it electronically. Because you think, biologists can hang out at a tagging station or take a tooth, measure antlers, do the whole 9 yards.
So they did that in that magazine that you talked about, Paul, back in I think it was the 1970 issue. And they would, like you say, they would interview them and, how many moose did you see?
Yeah.
How many deer did you see? And they do it with moose hunters. How many grouse are you seeing and stuff?
It's valuable data that you wouldn't get otherwise.
Exactly. Yeah, it is.
And you think of compliance, how many people are going to, honestly do this?
Yeah.
And then revenue is another one.
Yeah.
It would be lost revenue. How do you account for that?
Yeah.
Especially the logistics of setting that whole system up, and other states do it, right?
I think actually, I almost think Michigan does it. I think I've heard Ben Consitis talk about that, Paul, that they have a self, through the internet or whatever, self registration.
And at first I was like, yeah, that would be kind of nice. I wouldn't have to. Yeah. And then I was like, oh man, no, you'll miss out on kind of hanging out at the tailgate of a pickup.
Yeah.
With everyone. And
and certainly that's a big thing in a lot of small communities around here, whether it be Ashland or Jackman or Fort Ken or.
Even when the state went to that whole digitization of it all, there was places that tagged deer that stopped. Yeah. Right. When they made
North Star Variety in New Sweden, they discontinued after they were forced to do it online.
Yeah. So
there used to be a moose tagging station too, and they discontinued that. They're one of the few moose tagging stations around. So
I think Maine's good at protecting traditions. And I think it's good that we're cautious and not just jumping that, hey, this would be, easy to do and kind of jump the gun. And then you're like, oh crap. There's actually a lot of good things to not doing that.
Yeah.
So when I was going through the articles there that were in that magazine, there were some common threads that people were still dealing with back in 1969 that we still deal with today.
Yeah, we're 75 years later.
Yeah.
76 years
one
later.
Thing, so there was one excerpt in it about land access.
Yeah.
And posting.
Yeah, that was when it was just starting to roll around, Paul, where you had a lot of out-of-staters coming in and...
Yeah.
So
in 69, they're talking about out-of-staters buying land, posting it.
Yeah.
Snowmobiles were just starting to ramp up.
Take off.
And people were posting their land because of that. So there was discussion on kind of how do they deal with that, and they'd mentioned, not alienating the landowners,
right?
Trying to have some sort of
respecting the landowner's property and
well,
stuff.
that and the state having some relationship with the landowners. I mean, now there's a lot of incentive to not. I shouldn't say a lot, but there's incentive with the state to not post your land.
Right.
You get some benefits if you don't post your land.
Right.
So then they had a great article in there about the harvest of 69.
It was down a little bit from the year before. It was in the 30,000, low 30,000 range. I think the year before, low 40,000 and stuff. And they had talked about that they believed that it was not so much that the deer herd had gone down, but hunter participation, which we talk about. And that's been a thing I've always read since I was a little kid, that, if the year is favorable for getting out in the woods and hunting, maybe you have snow early and good tracking snow, people tend to put more effort into it, and the harvest numbers go up.
Yeah.
And I think they said that year they had a lot of rain, of rainy days and stuff, so people are not likely to sit out in the woods for 8 hours, in the pouring rain or.
So they had, that winter of 68 to 69 had snow early and it hung on.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of talk about, it was hard on the deer herd.
Right.
So like you mentioned, hunters get word that, okay, they think the deer herd's,
right.
I shouldn't say decimated, but it's been impacted heavily. And then, weather conditions in that fall of 69 were unfavorable. It was warmer, super wet.
Yeah. They said very wet, a lot of rainy days.
And it probably was more hunter sentiment than it was a poor deer herd.
Yeah.
But did you see some of the bucks that were shot?
Yeah.
But the biggest one was 295.
Yeah. Charles Smith from Prescal.
Yeah.
Shot it in Ashland and stuff. And I went down through there to see if I recognized any names. And
I did the same thing.
Yeah, I didn't. But there was a lot in the 270 area there. And
it seemed like the top 10 were 259 and above.
Yeah.
We'll just say, for simplicity's sake, 250 to 295. Yeah. And they had 461 that were 200 plus that year.
Oh, I didn't see that number, Paul.
Yeah. Did I write it down?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that would be more than this year. No, we were 614, I think, this year.
I don't know if I wrote it down.
Yeah. So in that time too, Paul, we had any sex, either sex.
Yeah.
And a strict one deer limit. You shot a doe the first day, you were done deer hunting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was great to go through that. To see, that we're still dealing with the same.
Yeah.
The same things.
Yeah.
Today that we were back in 69, 68.
Yeah.
Good years, bad years. Hard winters still affecting the herd.
Yeah, winters always were, like, we know that we're on the northern fringe of whitetail habitat there, so winters can impact the deer herd big time. A bad winter can have a lot of impact on our deer herd. And one of the things you read, which I knew as a kid, was you had mentioned it, Paul, was the domestic dog problem with deer.
Yeah, so they had a section in there for accounting for deer mortality that was not related to hunting. Right. And I was shocked by the significance of domestic dogs taking deer.
Yeah.
And you were like, that was a common thing.
I remember that well, and that it was a common thing. And back in that day, dogs were looked at totally different than they weren't house pets. They were kept outside and off a leash. They basically could roam where they wanted to roam. A dog could at that time. And and oftentimes during the winter they would roam into the woods, and it's their natural instinct to chase deer.
Yeah, it was like, what was it, 200 and some change?
Yeah.
That accounted for.
Yeah. Yeah, that a lot of a warden's job back then during the winter was dealing with domestic dog issues and stuff in the chasing deer. And I almost think that, and I shouldn't, but I almost think they had a right to shoot a dog if they caught it chasing it in the act of chasing a deer. I almost believe that they had that.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I had a professor at UMO, and it would have been my freshman year, had shared a story, and he was older at the time, so this would have been 2000, 2001. And I can remember him saying, he was an old crusty guy. And he was like, a few years back, or when he was younger, I don't know how far back, but he'd caught neighbor's dog was chasing a deer across his yard. He shot it.
Yeah.
He goes, I shot the dog and delivered it to the neighbor.
Yeah.
He said they were mad at him.
Yeah.
He said, it's chasing deer.
Yeah. It was a common thing back in the day. Domestic dogs chasing deer and stuff. And
yeah, because at first when I read that, I was thinking, oh, they must be talking coyotes. Mm. And then I go a little further and they're like,
yeah,
they had an account for wild predators.
Yeah.
Like, no, they must obviously be referring to domestic dogs. Yeah, I'm trying to think how many were over. Yeah, 241 were from dogs. I'm thinking if I wrote down any. 449 bucks for 200 plus.
Yeah.
That year. I mean, that's pretty good. 259 to 295.
Yeah.
Or the top 10. But yeah, also they had a survey in there because they survey hunters. So you're talking about collecting data and stuff, and they had kind of the hunter's point of view on Sunday hunting.
Yeah,
back in the late 60s. Yeah. Everyone was, for the most part, for it, but it was guides were the least likely.
Yep.
And it was out-of-staters that were the
most that wanted it, which stands
Makes
to reason.
sense.
You make a trip up here,
yeah.
And at that time, Paul, you probably read that out-of-staters generally took 2 weeks off to come up here and hunt.
Yeah.
Where a resident might take a week off.
Yeah.
You know, and but out-of-staters, if they made the effort to get up here, they were probably going to stay 2 weeks. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed going through that. That was.
Yeah, but that was an issue back then, Sunday hunting.
Now, did you look where they talked about their favorite ways to, or how they took
posting?
Yeah, so sitting on stand.
Yeah, I love the terminology too. That posting and roosting.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, so if you sat in a tree or whatever, they didn't mention tree stands at all.
They're roosting,
but you could roost in a tree. And one of the, it's funny how in 75 years, how our language has changed. I've mentioned this before, our language. So they referred to hunters in there as nimrods, which was, which was a common thing back in the day. You could be if you were a fisherman and you read an article about somebody going fishing, they could call them a piscator.
If you read older books, like Thoreau, and stuff like that.
And hunter could be referred to as a nimrod. Which it came out of the Bible, and Nimrod was a good hunter in the Bible and stuff, and we kind of twisted that around, I think, in our culture to mean like a nitwit or something, but that's not what it meant at all. It meant a hunter.
Yep.
It meant a hunter. Yep. So,
I think the majority of people stalked.
Yeah.
But the percentage that were successful were a little lower relative to the number of people that were stalking compared to sitting on stand.
Yeah. And they also talked about people driving around looking for deer and stuff.
Yeah.
In
the realm of fishing, they were discussing debating on whether to have a length limit.
Right.
6
to
inches.
do away with the 6-inch length limit, which was in effect at that time.
Yeah.
So they actually did that. And I lived it. I remember when they did away with any length limit on brook trout.
Okay.
So you could keep, if you got a 4 or 5 incher, you could keep it.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think that was when they lowered the bag limit to 5 fish. So but we had talked about there was 2 major reasons that they did that. They just felt that a lot of places. Those little spring brooks in Maine, fish never. You could get a 3-year-old trout that never attained 6 inches.
Yeah.
So, basically you could go to a lot of places and really not find fish that were legal limit, but yet the brook could give up some fish. You ought to be, and another reason, the other reason being mortality, catching a lot of fish and throwing them back. They just figured if you caught your 5 fish and kept them and you were done, that you would actually reduce mortality on brook trout in areas.
Because I'm a big, usually when we're fishing, especially if we plan on having a fish meal, my whole, usually the fish that I keep are the ones that are hooked the worst.
Right.
Their gills are bleeding, or they're bleeding from the gills. They're not doing too well, and they're illegal fish. I'll keep those.
Yeah.
And it pains me when, if you fish a pond and the minimum length limit's like 10 inches or 12 inches or whatever, you catch one that's like 11 inches.
Yeah.
Or like an inch below and he's going belly up. You're like, man, I would really like to keep that.
Right.
To eat that. It'll get used.
Yeah. Something else will for sure.
It. But it's kind of a hard pill to swallow when you release a guy and he's just going belly up, and you just have to. Well,
it'd be no different, Paul, if you caught the fish and killed it and just threw it back in the pond. Is basically what's happening and stuff. But the warden isn't going to understand that.
You can't be like, well, it died. So
you can't use that as a reason for keeping the fish. So.
No. Yeah. But that happens on occasion.
It does.
And usually I'm like, is there any way we can?
Yeah, and I've got to be honest. I've been on places where it's happened, and I just said, well, I'm keeping the fish. I'm not gonna drive away from it. And if I get caught, I get caught. But the fish is dead, and I'll suffer the consequences for whatever.
You criminal.
But I have done it. I have kept it.
You criminal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got to be honest.
And you sleep at night?
Yeah, most nights.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So other changes that I was, that Maine has dealt with over the years, especially in the outdoors. We talked about modernization, and how we deal with that. Sporting camps too have been evolving, and really the past few years quite a bit, because now most of the sporting camps didn't stay open during the wintertime.
No.
Now they're catering to snowmobilers,
cross-country skiing, ice fishing, snowmobiling. There's a lot of different things that.
And those places weren't designed for.
Right.
Like what, 3 seasons at best?
Exactly.
Now
they weren't insulated.
The roofs aren't insulated.
No.
So now they're, accounting for that. Technology, Wi-Fi access and stuff like that. Because I was reading an article, a lot of people that come to say if they do a week up here, they're from away, and they still plan on working a few hours a day.
Yeah.
Even though they're coming to a sporting camp, which I can't wrap my mind around.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of want to disconnect for a week.
Right. Unplug completely for a few days.
A lot of people, I guess, can't or whatever, but they still plan on working for an hour or two. So a lot of these places are incorporating technology into their, and with Starlink and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
It's easy to get access. Yeah. One of the things on that survey, Paul, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, they talked about hunters with 4-wheel drives. Do you remember?
I didn't see that. Must have skipped over it.
I think they said, and I don't think they mentioned residents, but I think out-of-staters, I think they said 22% had 4-wheel drives. What do you think that number would be now?
Probably darn close to 100.
Darn close to 100.
I mean,
if not.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, you don't know anybody that would come up here today without a 4-wheel drive, and but I think back in that day, and I've often talked about that. I mean, I can remember there's very few people that had 4-wheel drives back in the 60s.
Gramp never had one.
It was just a luxury people couldn't afford or didn't have. It just wasn't available, I guess.
Yeah.
They didn't produce many 4-wheel drives. The car
and
companies.
The 4-wheel drives were rough.
Yeah.
They were
trucks.
Yeah, they weren't.
Yeah. So
Very-
the SUV hadn't come around.
Yeah.
So if you got a 4-wheel drive, it was in a pickup, and it was, yeah, you're right, it was a tough truck.
Very utilitarian.
Utilitarian. Yeah, it wasn't made to drive, cruise around the roads with.
No.
So, but I thought that was interesting. It's something I expected. I knew that not many, and I think the number they gave was 22% of the
Wow.
out-of-staters had 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of all the vehicles I see in the woods.
Yeah,
And
nobody.
it's very seldom to see.
Yeah.
It's either an Irving truck that's 2-wheel drive,
Right.
one of the yellow
Yeah. The
Foresters.
bumblebees,
Yeah.
yellow and black.
Or someone who's from away that's up here in a car or something.
Yeah, but most of those people, they may come up with a Mercedes or whatever. It's probably, though, an SUV and 4-wheel
Yeah.
drive. It may not be a really woods vehicle.
Although
but,
I think we both saw the same Mercedes this
Yeah.
past fall at
Yeah.
different times. A car,
yeah,
2 old guys in it.
yeah. But even now, the cars, I mean, like a Camry can be 4-wheel drive or
Yeah.
whatever. A lot of the cars can be 4-wheel drive, all-wheel drive or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
So a big thing that, and I did a little video on the Remington, on that 121 Fieldmaster. And because the big thing with me is culture and convenience is really competing with outdoor traditions. And it's like with that little gun, you forget that people had less vying for their time as kids, less things to do.
right.
So people spend time in the outdoors.
Yeah.
So a lot of little boys spent time carrying a BB gun or a 22.
Right.
And their day of fun was shooting stuff up everywhere.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you forget how much that makes someone an outdoorsman or a good outdoorsman, both shooting wise and just,
Yeah.
being in the woods.
Yeah. Well, you start, and I did it. You go into the woods as a kid, and, you're looking, you train yourself to hunt too, not just shooting, but finding game,
How you see
Looking,
things and
how you see, you're looking for a squirrel,
yeah.
and you're listening and you're looking and you're using all your senses to try to find the game that you're,
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that a lot. I did that a lot as a child. So
As a kid, there was no going inside and watching it on YouTube
nope,
to see how this person's doing it or that person's doing it.
we were free range kids. I just read an article about that. A psychologist had talked about that, about the 60s and 70s kids. They were raised. They were be home for supper kids.
Yeah.
And and we get very good. And I talked about this with you and Lacey. We get very good at dealing with our issues and stuff. And we didn't have mediators. Mom wasn't there to mediate if we had an issue with one of our friends or whatever. You worked it out.
No, did you have to have an assembly on bullying when you were in school?
No. Sometimes you
kick the snot out of each other.
Yeah,
and call it
sometimes
good.
you get in a fight, and but you had to even then you had to navigate reconciliation, because it was your buddy, and if you wanted to keep playing ball with the neighborhood, you had to reconcile
and
with the.
They didn't last long.
No, it didn't last
Your
long. That's what I'm
disagreements
saying.
are-
You didn't hold a grudge, and
No.
but it was this article was very interesting, and I said, man, I talked about that with Lacey and Paul, that it was a different, and we just learned how to mediate and to navigate friendships
Yeah.
and in the world in a different way.
We try very hard not to hover over our kids, especially
Yeah.
when they're playing around here.
Yeah.
It sometimes creates a lot of work for me because I know today they've been
Yeah.
down back all morning doing something. And I try to just let them
Right. Do their thing.
to have some independence to
Yeah.
don't
Eventually they're gonna.
But I know I'm going to go down there, and they hauled probably a bunch of stuff out of the wood, sticks and logs and stuff. Because I keep telling them, you build cabins and stuff, just don't do it where I have to spend an hour picking up logs so I can mow the lawn. So I don't know what I'm going to find when I go down there, but they've been down the past 2 days.
You know, and I think, Paul, a lot of it had to do, and I may be wrong on this too, I think a lot of it had to do that with life was maybe a little more difficult where you had more kids, for one thing. Across the board, generally people had 4 to 6 kids or in that area. And life was more demanding, and so it was more or less, listen, get out of my hair, go out and do something.
You're only one person too, and
that's what I'm saying. You were only one person, and you just had to hope that they didn't get into too much trouble or get too badly injured. You were going to get hurt. I mean, we all get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, that
kids are pretty resilient.
You just hope that you survived, you know, and yeah. I just think that life was so much busier for the mother back then that they couldn't devote the time and the effort and energy into, you know, watching over every child all day long. And so it was you be home by supper.
Couldn't hover over.
You couldn't.
Over them.
You couldn't.
No. So nowadays everything's a little more curated, a little more formal.
Yeah.
All that introduction to the outdoors tends to be, wicked formal. And I mentioned that, you know, talking about that old Remington, which was my great grandfather's.
I assume, Paul, I got it. It's been in my life as long as I can remember. So, and I know Dad didn't buy it, so 100% it would have had to come from his father.
And I'm pretty sure the scope that's on it is from the late 30s, early 40s.
Well, he died. Your great grandfather died in either 39 or 40, so the gun would have been in the 30s.
I didn't look up what year the gun was made.
Yeah.
I should have.
And you could. I think I looked up the Model 81.
Yeah, I talked about that.
And I think it was 36 or something.
They all the guns you can look up by serial
number. Yeah, I think that I did look that up. It was 1936, I think, because they produced those until the early 50s.
Yes, mid 50s.
Yeah.
And then from the mid 50s on, you had the 572?
Yeah.
And then the Remington became no more.
Yeah.
But before that model was the Model 12.
Yeah.
Early 1900s.
Oh, yeah, but I was talking about the Model 81. I think they discontinued that in the early 50s.
Yeah.
That I don't know what year they discontinued the 121, but
mid 50s on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so like learning to shoot, right, is a lot more formal.
Right.
Now, and that's such a barrier to getting out and doing it, because even, you know, like anything you do, like shooting this podcast, I basically have everything set up, because if I had to come out here and set everything up,
you'd never do it. Or you wouldn't do it very often.
Even if it took me 20 minutes, I'm going to be like, oh, I don't want to deal with like.
Right.
So the more you can have things just like kind of ready, set, go, the easier it is to do. So I'd mentioned, you know, we're fortunate where I live to go shoot. I can just walk out back.
Yeah.
You know, we pretty well do that anywhere in northern Maine.
Yeah.
But if you go to, you know, someone who lives in a more populated area, if they want to go sight their rifle, and they got to go to a range or a gun club or, you know, someplace that isn't as convenient. So they got to travel there and go through all the, and that to me seems like, oh man, what a pain in the butt.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that, because with that 22, and we didn't do it a lot, but we would set up a can right at the camp.
Yeah. Okay.
And during the fall, and we would plink away. Well, now you couldn't legally, because we're within 100 yards of camps, residents.
Yeah.
And back in that day, very few, if any, of the camps were year-round residences. They were seasonal camps, and everybody after Labor Day was pretty much gone. There was just a few that used them for bird hunting and deer hunting after Labor Day. But we did, and like I say, so it was no problem to set up a can and with the backstop, the woods being a backstop, and shoot away.
Blink away.
Nobody would say a word, you know. But now you can't do that.
No.
So.
No.
Yeah.
Even here, we had someone move in from Baltimore, and she was, because my neighbor across the road, he shoots all the time.
Right.
And it was just, obviously it was foreign to her to hear gunshots.
Gunshot. Oh, absolutely. And yeah, if you're from Baltimore.
Made her a little uneasy because her whole reason for moving here was, I guess there was a lot of crime where she was living.
Yeah.
And so probably her relationship with the gunshot's a lot different than mine.
Yeah.
I hear one here, especially in November. I can usually tell if my father-in-law shot a deer.
Yeah.
We usually can.
Yeah, he's not far away.
We usually can hear it.
Yeah.
And we'll both just kind of look at each other. Wonder if that was your dad.
Yeah.
And then we'll get a text. Deer down. But yeah, she was a little bit like, is everything okay over there? Everything's fantastic. Just having some fun.
Yeah, times change, and the views on firearms and stuff has changed, and
it is.
We can get into the podcast on our neighbor here to the Canada. They've got some major changes over in Canada on gun control and gun ownership.
Oh, speaking of that, I came across a picture on, it may have been Instagram, back when Australia did their whole buyback.
Yes.
It sickened me. It was just dump truck loads of guns.
Yeah.
Like just all piled in there. And looking through them, most of them were shotguns. But you could see like Browning shotguns and a lot of Remington shotguns.
Yeah.
All kinds of nice walnut sitting in there.
Yeah.
I just was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Doing that with a pile of guns.
Yeah.
Just destroying them.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
going to keep us all safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Save us from ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're always looking at it, where we're going.
Yeah.
What are things going to be like down the road? Some change is good, not all of it.
Not all of it for sure.
Because if you change too quick, sometimes you change something, there's no going back. If it's the wrong direction. Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to reverse. They talk about that even in making a law. It's far easier to create it than it is to repeal it. You know, once it's established, it's even if it's not good, it's very difficult to right the ship. So we need to be careful. And that we did that in the, in those articles they talked about letting smelt go in places and stuff. You remember that?
Yeah.
Thinking the trout would, but there's repercussions to that they didn't see at that time, that they didn't understand, that they do now,
Because you wouldn't think, like, so whitefish,
right?
We've talked about that. You wouldn't think a little smelt would affect whitefish population.
But it does.
It does.
It does. Adversely affects the whitefish population. So
the downstream effects, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Or I guess pun intended. But the downstream effects of some of the things that you change, can't always account for them.
No, and you
don't want a surprise.
Yeah, and you might have to live with them for forever.
Yeah, because I've mentioned before, it's a complex system. All this stuff, the way it all works with each other, and we like to think we're smarter than what we
find out we're not.
Yeah, we're not as bright as we thought.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
Mother Nature has figured stuff out over thousands of years, tens of thousands of years.
A lot of it's our own fault because we try to oversimplify things.
Yeah.
And we this is the answer and this is why. And then you start missing some of the little nuances and then you're going, crap.
Yeah. Didn't see that
Nothing
coming.
we can do about it now.
No.
That ship has sailed, so. Yeah. So I got to thank Richard for sending that group of articles over to me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see how things were because we forget.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to see how things were, back in that day and stuff. And a lot of it I could relate to because
you were living during
at that time in 69. I guess the magazine was 70. I was 11 or 12 years old. I was born in 58, so I can remember some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, things change.
Yeah.
But on another note, I got my deer back.
Yeah, it's beautiful, Paul. It's
I'm so tickled.
Yeah. Steve.
Steve Jondro.
Yeah, wildlife artistry, and Steve Jondro did a fantastic job. He's done a number of deer heads for us over a lot of years, probably since late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah,
Steve has.
Yeah.
So still in business, so that speaks to
back when he worked with his uncle.
His uncle, yeah.
And then because my first deer he did for me was in '97.
Yeah.
And I think he said that was the first year he was on his own, or right around when he was on his own. And I told him, I said, I can remember we met him at Coffin's store to pick it up.
Right.
And he said that he picked one up from UPS. And he was trying to remember which one.
Yeah.
Goes, what was the deer
he's done a couple. He's done a couple for me, Paul. Like I say, for sure the first one, I think he was working for his uncle. It was my first 200-pounder. I think he did that.
All right.
Yeah, and but maybe not. But for sure the second one.
Yeah. The
one that weighed 240 there, that the 10-pointer, the mastic buck. He did that.
Yeah.
He may have been working for Eldon at that time too, I think.
Yeah, that was 91, 92. Right?
Yeah, he probably was still working for his uncle.
Yeah.
So.
But he does a phenomenal job. You got to wait a little bit.
Yeah, he's in demand.
Couple of years.
He's in demand, Steve is.
It's easy to be patient when you get it and you look at it, like even up close, going over it really.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Like,
it is beautiful. And
like what a super job. And there's been some other people that had commented too that they've brought all their deer to Steve over the years.
Yeah.
And so, I was pretty tickled with it. Can't complain.
Yeah.
So looks like about how I remember it.
Yeah, it looks a little different than the one I found it.
Yeah.
It was,
He said that the cape was in excellent condition.
Yeah.
So it was
really, it hadn't sat there that long, 2 days, and it was cold. It had snow on the ground, at least the first day or so. And
because I was a little concerned, I'm like,
it's
gonna be all right. He's like, no, it was in great shape.
Yeah, well, it looks like it's in great shape now. So,
and he has some nice bucks in there when I picked it up. Does a lot of bear.
Yeah, I think most, and I could be wrong, but I think most taxidermists and guides up here, if they're going to make a living at it, that bear is. Whether you're guiding or you're doing the taxidermy work, bear is where you're going to make your money.
Yeah.
So.
Which we get a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of bear.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what's the date today? We are 19th. So when the heck are we going to be fishing? I'm getting.
Well, like I said,
antsy.
the ice is just pulling away from shore. If the weather stayed good, which it's not supposed to, it's supposed to be cold this week, Paul, so it won't do much melting. We'll be making ice tonight down in the 20s the next couple nights.
Maybe we can speed that up with a little dynamite.
Yeah, I don't have enough dynamite to do that. So, yeah, it'll be probably the first week. I said the 5th. So I'm going to stick with that.
All right, 5th of May.
The 5th of May. We'll see how close I am.
I'm going fishing the 5th of May.
We'll see. Well, yeah, if the ice is out. Yeah, we will, for sure.
It's going to have to be out.
Yeah.
So I'm going fishing.
I put the stickers on the boat yesterday.
Oh, did you get them?
Yeah, I got my stickers. I don't know why they sent me an email telling me that it would be the 12th of May, I think Tuesday, the 12th of May. That I always, when I've sent it in, I've gotten them right back. And I did get them back last week, and so they're on the boat.
Everything serviced?
No. I'll have to.
We'll be out on the lake with a dead battery.
Yeah, hopefully not. I'll make sure everything's running by the time we get up there to fish. Believe me, I'll have it running.
Got plenty of time.
Yeah, we get 3 weeks.
So. I think of else. If there's any other current events going on around that.
Not that I can.
Sportsman shows are all done.
Yeah.
Moving on from that.
Yeah. I think the one of the things I saw in the news, Paul, the Maine Supreme Court ruled that they had tried to take it through the court system on Sunday hunting, that it was unconstitutional, and the Maine Supreme Court had ruled that it is constitutional to not allow Sunday hunting under the right to procure food or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
No.
I see an article there that they had found in favor of allowing the department to not have Sunday hunting. So, what was
their argument, or what was their supporting argument for that? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I can't remember how they worded it, Paul. I don't care if we have it or not. I know on the side for Sunday hunting, they use the argument that we have a constitutional right to procure food, so we should be able to do it on Sunday. But they said that the department had a right to not allow it for.
I mean, I don't think anyone's starving to death. So.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, if I was lost someplace and I needed food, I'm going to be Sunday.
I think anybody would. Like I say,
Sunday hunting.
I've just confessed to a few of my my sins. So
yeah, you don't want to see stuff go to waste. It's hard,
No, I've done it.
Hard to be.
I've done it, like I said, and said, well, and prepared to pay the fine or whatever to face the consequences if I get caught. And I could easily look him in the eye and tell him what I did and why I did it, and if it means a ticket, so be it. So yeah.
Yep. Alrighty. I guess that's all she wrote.
Yes.
I guess until next time, get outside.
It's good for the soul.
See ya.